show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here on Dogs on the Run. The Ohio State Buckeyes are in the national semifinal. Yeah, and that's what we got.
That's what everybody's excited for this morning.
Yeah, no.
I mean, that's good. And that'll be something that we'll talk about and enjoy.
Yes, we'll have some fun with that. But meanwhile, your Cleveland Browns lost yesterday, 25-24. We've got an unbelievable show for you. It's a bitter feeling this morning because it feels like it's another season gone. You can point the finger in a million different directions, but at this point, I think when it comes to the quarterback question, which we're asking on Twitter, I got to believe it's Johnny Manziel the rest of the way. Why not? Why not go with Johnny Manziel the rest of the way?
At this point, why not go with them? I think it's more, though, when you look at yesterday's game and you look at why Mike Pettin did or did not go to him, and we'll never get the complete answer as to why. I do think some people, though, Mike Pettin wants to win football games.
Sure.
More so than you. More so than I want them to win. This is his job. This is, at the end of the day, what is he graded by?
Wins and losses.
Wins and losses. And no one's going to care a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, why you lost that game in December. They're just going to say, hey, you're 7 and whatever that season. And for them not to go to Johnny, yes, they were winning the game. Yes, that's the guy the veterans wanted to go with. But to me, it tells you there's more going on with Johnny Manziel than any of us care to know or do know at this point in time.
Eric, the referee, good morning to you.
Hello, hello.
Hello, it's good to see you here this morning. What do we got coming up on the show?
We got a jam-packed show. Obviously, the talk is the quarterback. I mean, is it time to go to Johnny Manziel, or are we going to go out to Tim Couch? I mean, he looks pretty good shape. I mean, I think he can go.
Tim. I think Tim can play.
Yeah, I think he could bring us that game.
All right,
we'll hear from him on the quarterback, so we got a jam-packed show. We'll go to Indy. We got a Browns backer from Chicago, so jam-packed show today.
All right, his energy level through the roof.
Oh, yeah, he's way to go. Me, us too.
That's good.
Hey, I bring my A game every day, like Ohio State.
If this is your A game, I'm scared.
Yeah, I wouldn't brag and say this is my A
All right,
game.
we're going to go to the phones real quick here. We're going to go to George on Skype 1 as well. Good morning. Way to lead us off as usual. At least you have your little brownie behind you there, Guy. What do you think this morning?
Oh, God. It's all fucked up. I want to give Andre a shout-out for his high school coverage this weekend.
Oh, thank you, George.
We can't forget about St. Ed's and especially Benedict coming home with championship.
Absolutely. And those Kirtland kids, too. Think about those Kirtland seniors.
I didn't want to talk.
Let's not think about that.
Only Mount Union is the only other school that I could ever think of that went 58-2 over 4 years.
It's unbelievable. They played 60 games in 4 years. Unbelievable.
George, what do you got on the Browns game?
Reminded me of that one movie, Agony and Ecstasy, where unfortunately the title's reversed. We got Agony again. And right now who gives a flying fuck who they put in quarterback, and we really don't know the whole story. They're not going to give it to us. And the upper echelon, they must be enamored in Johnny Manziel.
Wait, how can you say that? The upper echelon
Well, how can I say that? Just my own analysis, because it just reminds me of Dan Snyder in Washington a little bit.
I could see that.
Just a tiny little bit. I'm not going to go expanding over it. The whole situation's fucked up. The minute we let Manziel into the Buffalo game, we knew we were going to have a powder keg of a controversy.
True. You're right.
We're 7-6. Okay, I'll live with that. We got 3 games left. Why not? Let's see what we got.
All right, George.
We've gone through so many quarterbacks, from Couch now to Hoyer, trying to get the one where we can hit the jackpot and finally get that Aaron Rodgers type of quarterback. Who the hell knows? I have a better chance going to the Horseshoe Casino and winning than I do with this.
You do. You actually do.
It's a great call,
playing
George.
roulette. All right.
Oh, and at least down south, not Columbus, but Cincinnati, they're feeling the same pissy fucking way we are this morning.
True. Steelers put one on them last
I
night.
did. All right, George, thank you. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next
you
week.
have a great week, and go Bucks.
All right, go
Take
Bucks.
care, George.
Let's go to the phones, and we're going to go to Tim real quick here in a second. Let's go to Kenneth in Bedford, who's been hanging out for a while. Hi, Kenneth. How are you?
How are you? How you doing?
Good. What's going on, man?
Well, hey, man, I just wanted to know what you guys were thinking as far as, direction going quarterback. I think that Brian Hoyer's been, fairly limited his abilities, and I just was wondering, why is it that they're taking so long to actually see Johnny, being that he was a first-round pick?
All right, Kenneth, thank you. We're having a little bit of trouble with your phone line. I think we got the gist of your questions, though. 216-431-3820.
Let me ask you this: if the Browns were 5-7, do you think Johnny would have been playing yesterday?
Yes.
Me too. Here, let's talk about Brian Hoyer. Let's start off there.
Let's bring Tim into the conversation.
Yeah.
All right, let's bring Tim in. Tim Couch, our third amigo on the show. Hi, Tim. How are you?
Morning.
Good morning to you. All right, so many things to talk about here this morning. First of all, let's just kind of all get our thoughts out on the quarterback situation. Tim, you start. Your thoughts on what's going on with the quarterback situation.
I've been a big supporter of Hoyer all season long. No mistake about that. I feel like he's been the right guy for this team. But, right now, after this last week, after yesterday's game against the Colts, it's hard for me to say he still should be the guy. I think if you look over, the last, 4 games or so, he's under 50% completion percentage, 8 interceptions, 1 touchdown. The offense has stalled. It's just not moving. I think Brian, the biggest thing, has lost confidence in himself. I see him as a guy who, early in the season, those throws he missed yesterday, Josh down the sideline, I think it was Benjamin down the middle, wide open throws that Brian was absolutely on target early in the year, hitting those big plays. He missed them by 4 or 5 yards yesterday. It wasn't even close. And, to me, that's a sign of a guy who's lost his confidence. It's not a skill set thing. We've seen Brian make those type of throws, but right now, he's just not making them on a consistent basis, and I think he's kind of looking over his shoulder a little bit. I think he's frustrated with himself and the offense that they're not moving the ball, not putting points on the board like they were earlier in the year. And, it's probably time for a change, put Manziel in and see if he can spark the offense a little bit.
I think you just hit on it, Sam. He's lost his confidence. And when you lose your confidence in any job, whether it be radio, television, playing football, basketball, if you don't know how to gain it and get back and pull yourself back up, it will bring the team down. And that's what's happening right now. Brian had that for the first 8, 9, 10 weeks of the season. I don't know if it was getting pulled in Buffalo. I don't know if it's the offense not fitting, because Tim just hit on something. As bad as he would play throughout the early parts of the season, when he had open guys downfield, he hit them. And, people would, say, oh, that was a duck, or that one didn't get far enough, but he got the ball downfield. And we can think of 2 plays, all of us, right at the top of our head. If he hits them, game over. The other questionable thing is how they're using Josh Gordon. 3 weeks ago, you come out and you throw it to him 17 times. Yesterday, you take him out on 3rd down. Shouldn't it have been the other way around? That just doesn't make sense. It does make sense, but it doesn't. I think this coaching staff is learning a lot about this team, and they're learning with all eyes of the NFL paying attention right now.
I think the other point here, too, is the most important stat is 12. That's where the Browns are in the AFC right now.
Yeah.
They're 12th. The only difference between them than the Jets, with 2 wins, the Jets have more tiebreakers than the Browns do right now. So, it's nothing against Brian Hoyer. I like Brian. I think Brian has done a good job for this team that we've seen garbage. Nobody expected more than 4 or 5 wins this season. I'm hard-pressed to find that. But I do have to see what you have for next year, and let's see what Manziel has. You're going to put him in a situation where, I don't want to say the cupboard's not bare, but there's a little bit there to play for.
It's a little bit.
You go out there, you get 3 wins, you get this team to the playoffs, you can change some things around.
All right, but I'm
not saying you're getting the playoffs.
But what does it say that Pettin wouldn't go to him yesterday? I mean, really read the tea leaves. Everybody and their mom thought they should have gone to him, and the coach wouldn't.
Because once he turned the key, it's over.
But didn't he turn that key a week ago?
No, I don't think so, because last week I thought he was looking for a spark. I think he said, let's put this guy in with a spark. The only problem I have with that spark argument is it was with 9 minutes to go.
Last week.
Yeah, last week. So that was my issue there. Yesterday, it was Brian's game to win. And if Brian, look.
And they were winning all game.
If Josh catches that ball at the end, they got a field goal and they got a chance to win the game, regardless of all the other garbage that's happened in the game. Yeah, regardless of how bad they were in the 3rd quarter. Tim, what do you think of that?
I'm sorry, you guys cut out. I couldn't hear the question.
That's right. It's just more a point of, where Brian is right now. And, you talked about the confidence level. And if you're Mike Pettin, would you have switched yesterday?
It was the second half was just brutal. I think in the third quarter they had about less than 20 yards of total offense. They couldn't stay on the field, and I kind of was expecting to see Johnny in that second half because you hate to waste a performance like that from the defensive side of the ball where they're creating turnovers. They scored 2 touchdowns, and then offensively you just can't stay on the field. I mean, we couldn't run the ball in the second half because they couldn't hit any throws, and I think that the Colts were really stacking the box. They were getting in and just loading up on the run because there was really no threat of hitting a big play over the top because they hadn't been able to do it the entire game. So I thought that maybe he may bring Johnny in that second half just to, if nothing else, just to kind of let the guy run around a little bit, spread the field, go 4 or 5 wide receivers, create some of those natural running lanes for Johnny if it's not there down the field, just to tuck and run, just to stay on the field for anything, just to keep the defense on the sideline for a little bit, let them get a little bit of a rest. But there were so many 3 and outs, especially in that second half, and just couldn't get a first down, that I thought that maybe we might see Johnny in that second half.
I thought so, Tim. What time did you get to games on game day? Just curious.
I was always a first bus guy. I would get there as early as I possibly could. I kind of like to ease into the day, get a good, get a good stretch, get out on the field, kind of throw some balls a little bit, and I didn't like to feel rushed. I think I saw yesterday where Johnny's kind of a second or third bus guy, where he kind of gets there and just goes, doesn't do anything pregame, just goes out for the the team warm ups and those kind of things. But I was definitely different than that. I would like to get there as early as I could and kind of ease into it.
And when you did that, you did it for you, but don't you also as a quarterback do it so your teammates see you're ready and they can follow you?
Absolutely. I mean, and that's the same thing as being in the building during the week. I wanted when the guys came in the morning for the team meeting, I wanted them to see me either in the film room, in the weight room, in the training room if I needed treatment, anything like that. I just wanted the guys to see me in there because I felt like if you're the quarterback and you feel like it's your football team, you're almost like the head coach. When you walk in that building, you're going to see Coach Pettin, you're going to see the general manager, you're going to see those guys. Well, they need to see you too, that you're fully committed to being there. And I'm not knocking Johnny. That's just his style. It's the way he does it. That's just how I preferred to do it and how I went about it.
Tim, you don't have to knock him. That's how most quarterbacks go about it. I'm not knocking Johnny either. But traditionally in the NFL and in football, you expect a little bit more out of your quarterback. And I don't think a lot of fans understand that because you try to have the conversations with them and they go, well, Joe Hayden goes to Cavs games or this guy goes to Cavs games. Well, those guys are established and they aren't the face of the organization. When you're the quarterback of the team, you are the face of the team. We know Mike Pettin's father's a head coach. He's grown up in it. I think from Coach Pettin's standpoint, there's a way a quarterback carries himself and Johnny doesn't.
So what has to happen? So this is now by default that he's getting the job? You're saying that Mike Pettin is putting him out there just because he has to, because he's a first-round pick at this point?
That's the only other reason to put him out there. For him not to put him out there yesterday, Andy tells me they don't like how he prepares throughout the week. And you've heard stories like I've heard stories. There's something to it. I mean, a quarterback, I did sideline for a pretty long time. I never saw a quarterback show up at 11 o'clock. All quarterbacks were on that first bus. Some of them would get up earlier than the first bus and cab over to the field because they didn't want their guys to see them not there. And that's why at Joe Thomas and the veterans go, we want to play with this guy. We don't want to. And this isn't taking anything away from Johnny. But I had people tell me last week Johnny couldn't even get the plays out in the huddle. So if you can't get plays out in the huddle, what do you think the rest of the offensive line is saying?
I got a question for you guys too. What do you think it shows? I mean, Manziel, you're on the cusp of starting. I mean, it's a close battle. Don't you want to show that you want to start? Don't you want to come there early to the game? Or do you want to come up like it's being reported that he was there at 10:55?
It's not reported. He was definitely there. They have it. He walked in at 10:58, 55.
If he's there at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning, then, is he playing yesterday?
I don't know. No, because I think this is something that goes on throughout the week. This is who he is. And I think at the end of the day, was it just yesterday when he showed up? No, but I think they're trying to say something to him. Just like they're trying to say something to Josh Gordon.
Yeah, well, guess what? He's not listening.
I don't know.
If he's listening, he's there early yesterday.
And
no one's saying it. Tim, do you agree with that? Is he not listening? Is that why he's not playing?
Well, I think it's just probably frustrating. There's something going on that is causing Coach Pettin to be a little bit hesitant about putting Johnny in the game. And, whether it's, that kind of stuff, showing up, not on time, not being there early, those type of things, or whether it's just simply not picking up the playbook and not understanding the offense. You guys mentioned that he was struggling to call plays, in the huddle, those kind of things. Well, that's the transition he's going to have to make because at Texas A&M, they didn't even huddle. It was all, look to the sideline. The coach would call the play. It was all hurry up, no huddle, not under center, being in a shotgun all the time. All those things have to change when you become an NFL quarterback. So just the simple things about getting in the huddle, using the verbiage to get the play called, all those kind of things are things they're all new to Johnny. So he's still learning on the fly. And I just think that it's a combination of all those things, but I think they probably feel he's just a little bit behind in picking up, the terminology of the offense, his reads, his progressions, just his overall understanding of, how to pick up blitzes and where to go with the football. I think all those things kind of go into play.
Right. And on September 8th, that was okay. Right. On December 8th, you go, what the heck? Right? It's December 8th. We got 3 games left. You should be on this.
But if you're the Browns right now, what do? You blow out both quarterbacks at the end of the season?
Well, the one thing that I'll say, and saying everything that I've said, if they did their research, this is who Johnny is. You should have been working up. It was just like when they drafted Josh Gordon. And I remember sitting there with the GM at the time and going, hey, this kid is very talented, but he's had some off-field problems. And I remember him looking at me kind of crazy and he going, oh, we'll have programs. We'll take care of them. You see where that's gotten them.
Absolutely. All right, Tim, we're going to come back to you in a little bit. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right, we'll talk to you a little bit. Let's go back to Faith Boone, who's in the newsroom right now. And Faith, welcome back. It's good to see you here again. Hello, how are you?
Hi, guys. I'm
Hey,
good.
Faith.
How are you?
Good. What's the word on Twitter and Facebook this morning?
Oh, my gosh. It's just ridiculous. I mean, I was watching the game yesterday, and I was watching it very intensely. And I was screaming. I don't scream at games. But on Twitter, people are just basically calling Hoyer a joke. We have a poll up on the Dogs on the Run page right now, and I asked people, is it time to make the change? And we almost have 100 votes so far.
Sure.
It's pretty good for 7 o'clock in the morning. And people are definitely saying that, yes, it's definitely time to make a change. But what people are really saying on Twitter is just that, well, there are quite a few people saying that Pettin should be fired.
See, that I don't agree with.
That's ridiculous.
I
That's
think
Cleveland at
that's
its
a little extreme.
finest.
You're going to fire Pettin.
He's won more games than anybody expected them to win already, but that just
Right?
But that tells you how our town is. We all just blow things out of proportion. At some point in time, don't we got to trust that the coach knows more than you or I?
Right.
Whether I agree with
Or
him or
at least
not,
you
Yeah.
he knows more than I do.
But I will say this. When I was watching the game, Pettin doesn't make any facial expressions, does he?
Doesn't what?
He doesn't make any facial expressions.
Oh, I saw one
Kinda
yesterday when he missed the
straight
field
face,
goal.
except
He
for
lit up,
at
yeah,
the
he had a
end.
couple yesterday.
Yeah,
At the very end, I saw him
does it,
say
what difference does it make if a guy is over the top crazy or a guy is stoic on the sidelines? At the end, it's about winning. It's about being able to walk in that press conference and go, you know what, our guys played our best game and we won today, or we lost today.
Right.
I mean, we talk about quarterbacks being a game manager. Head coach has to be the ultimate game
Absolutely.
manager.
And he was emotional yesterday. He didn't like when they turned over the catch on Gordon, didn't like the missed field goal, and there were a couple of pass interference calls that weren't really good.
there were
They
a lot
weren't.
of things that just were not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so what's going on social then? Tell us how people can get interactive in the show.
You can find us on Twitter by looking for follows and look under the hashtag Dogs on the Run. Use the hashtag Dogs on the Run. And then on Facebook, you can find us there as well. And you can still use the hashtag Dogs on the Run, and I can find your posts there as well.
All right. Thank you, Faith.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Good stuff. All right. Look, let's just go back to the bigger question here then. And it's I don't even know that it's Manziel versus Hoyer at this point. It's why didn't Johnny go in yesterday? Is that not the bigger question?
It's a huge question, yeah. I think at the end of the day, why not? Now, they did have the lead in the game, and because of the quarterback stuff, this is a day we really should talk about how great the defense played, how they showed up, how they went about their business, how Craig Robertson played out of his mind yesterday. Joe Hayden was good. I think you can only give somebody so many opportunities.
Where'd Jim Leonard come from?
Jim Leonard is
Where'd
it's
this
just
guy
that,
come from?
but it's the position. And if
Right.
you want to get into why Coach Pettin likes certain guys, Jim Leonard is not the most talented guy in the world, but he knows how that defense works. He knows where he's supposed to be. Same thing with Tayshaun Gibson when he was supposed to be there. Is he the best athlete in the NFL? But he led the league in interceptions. That defense was phenomenal yesterday. They should have walked off the field as winners, not as losers. Now, we can go back to that 4th and inches play, and it was close, but Boom Herron did what he had to do. But if you've watched Andrew Luck, have you seen him play that bad so far in his career?
No.
He looked awful yesterday.
They did a nice job with him. All right, let's go to what do you want to do here, Eric?
Donnie in Paynesville's lined up.
Donnie in Paynesville. What do you got for us, Donnie? Donnie on Skype.
I'll tell you what, I'm pretty peeved at the whole Hoyer situation, the way it all went down. I'm really not as mad at him as I am at Johnny for showing up at 11 o'clock in the morning. I mean, he wasn't ready, so you can't really be mad that Pettin didn't put him in, but I'm just surprised that we didn't get a solid offensive game plan in the passing game. I don't know. It just wasn't good yesterday, but the defense played phenomenal. I'm very, very, very proud of how they've done.
Well, go ahead.
Donnie, any question on who the starting quarterback should be next week for you?
I'd put Johnny in. I mean, because we're at the bottom of the pack if we're even still in the hunt. So what do you got to lose?
Right. He's right. What do you have to lose at this point in time? And the weird thing is they're still in it. They're not in it. I know you said they're 12th, but if you win out, you got an opportunity. You're looking at me like I'm crazy. They're a game and a half out with 3 games to go.
Well, it's just hard, though. You look at 12th, and then 13th is the Jets with 2 wins.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, so that's where you are. That's how packed up.
Well, Donnie,
they're the worst of the 7-win teams.
Right. Donnie, were you more bothered by the running game or because the running game was good in the first half, or that Josh Gordon seemed non-existent yesterday?
I'd say a little bit of both. I mean, to me that the running game, it worked in the first half. You should have just stuck with that. And I really believe that Josh Gordon, they should have just went to him with the screens, because that seems to me, since he came back, that's where he's been most effective in the screen game. And he's getting, 10, 15, 20 yards down the field, so should have just kept with that.
All right, Donnie, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Good
Thanks
seeing
for
you,
Skyping
Don.
in.
All right, buddies.
Coach Roder, you want to go to Dave first? What do you want to do here, Eric, the referee?
What's
He has
that?
no
Sorry, I'm
idea.
on the phone. I'm actually trying to be.
Oh, you're actually producing today?
Yeah.
All right, then let's go to Kenny Rhoda, the KennyRhoda.com studios. Hi, Kenny. How are you? Coach Rhoda this morning.
Coach Rhoda Hayes.
I'm doing all right this morning. The Buckeyes came through over the weekend. Unfortunately, the Browns wasted a golden opportunity, a stellar performance by the defense, a game they should have won, and they came up short, and they lose by 1 point to Andrew Luck, who played one of his worst games, I think, since he's been in the NFL, or at least since his rookie season.
All right, your thoughts on the quarterback situation. Obviously, there's more to the picture than any of us know right now, right?
There has to be. They showed the film of Johnny walking in at 11 o'clock yesterday. I guess he wasn't technically late, so everybody comes in at a different time, and it was his 22nd birthday the night before, so who knows what transpired there. But I was all for staying with Hoyer for this week, giving him another opportunity. And he got that opportunity and failed miserably. It wasn't all his fault, but I think a lot of it was. And I think you know what you have now in Brian Hoyer. He has started 16 games. He's 10-6 now as a starter, so you have that in the back of your mind. You have the film on him. You don't have a lot, with the exception of 2 drives with Johnny Manziel, and you're a game and a half out with 3 to go. The playoffs now are unlikely. So I think the time is now to make the switch if, and this is big if Johnny Manziel is ready to act like a pro and understands what comes with being a starting quarterback in the NFL.
I think you know the answer to that. And I think they're answering it right now, Kenny, by not playing him. But I got to say this. Some of the things I'm hearing people complain about when it comes to Johnny aren't a surprise. This is who we thought Johnny would be, right? So who are the Browns to question it now? You drafted him in the first round. What did you expect?
Right. He is who we thought he was. Yeah. So Denny Green said that very well many years ago. You knew what you were getting into when you made this pick. And so I think at this point, you've got to give him a look from the standpoint, all right, announce it today, give him the whole week. Maybe, his attention span is short. I don't know, right? But if by naming him a starter on Monday grabs his attention, and we'll keep him, Jim Thome term, the focus will be there from Monday all the way through next Sunday, and he knows that. I think you have to take a look. You used a first-round pick on it. Right. So you thought enough of him to move back up 22 so the Chiefs wouldn't get him at 23, to take him because you thought he had the chance to be the quarterback of the future for you. You don't know that watching him on the sidelines. All the other rookie quarterbacks have played this year, and lo and behold, Teddy Bridgewater got another win yesterday, right? Derek Carr upset the San Francisco 49ers. So all these other guys are now, maybe they carry themselves professionally better than Johnny Manziel, maybe they've studied the playbook and they know more of the playbook than Johnny Manziel. But I could argue that Brian Hoyer may know the entire playbook and wrote a few extra pages to add to it, and they're still not scoring points with that.
Right.
So the time is now for me to make the switch and see what you have with Johnny Manziel at home before you go out on the road for the final 2 games.
Other 2 stories with Johnny that everybody getting into. Jay Glazer yesterday comes out and says the Browns weren't enthused that he was at a Cavs game Tuesday night before they were going to make the starting.
Right.
You shake your head, though, but Andy, you're the starting court.
Yeah, but it's Tuesday. Look, you know what? There's a lot of things. Look,
Okay.
it shows up at 11. I don't like that. There's a lot of things, but I don't have a problem with him going to the Cavs.
You don't. But see,
it's his day off. I mean, it's
we're
Tuesday.
I get everything you're saying, but as a quarterback of a football team, there's a time and place. And you know what most coaches are going to say, and whether it's right or wrong. Hey, Johnny, can't you wait until after January to go to a basketball game? You can go to every basketball game you want to. It's a different position. It's not cornerback. It's not tackle. You're the leader.
He's going around the corner to go watch his his local
But
team.
you know what, Dre? I got killed on Twitter for bringing this point up. I said the same thing. Oh, Johnny must know he's not starting, so he's out at the Cavs game. And remember, Mike Pettin said he told the guys they knew
Wednesday
on Tuesday,
morning. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe he told Johnny that morning when he met individually with both Hoyer and Manziel, and so Manziel figured, all right, I'm not starting, so I'm going to go out to the Cavs game. I thought either way, he should have been home studying because, A, if he was the starter, he should have been home watching film and studying the playbook. B, if he wasn't, he was a play away or maybe 2 or 3 series away if Hoyer played poorly again from being in there and finishing the game. So there's that professionalism that, again, Dre, you pointed it out. They knew what they were getting into when they
Let me just say, hang on one second.
But it pisses him off because he doesn't know the play.
Yeah, I got it. You know what? I'll go back to your other point, though. They never should have drafted him. They knew what they were getting themselves into.
Maybe
I don't have a problem with a guy going to a Cavs game on their off day.
Let me
They
ask
should
you
be
this.
working so hard 6 days a week.
Let me
Hang
ask
on
you
a
this.
second. They should be working so hard 6 days a week that they need to blow off steam on that off day.
But he isn't. That's the point. Let me ask you this.
Sure.
Would Peyton Manning be at a Denver Nuggets game on a Tuesday night? Have you ever seen that?
I don't watch any Nuggets games.
You know I'm right. With Tom Brady on a Tuesday night, one of the biggest weeks of the season for him, would he be at a Boston Celtics
Giselle
game?
said yes,
No,
he
you
would be.
know the answer. You know what the answer. Any quarterback that's about anything that matters, their ass would not be at a basketball game when you're going in a stretch run for the playoffs. They wouldn't. They would not. Name me one that
Especially
would.
if you're a rookie and you need to learn more of the playbook. I've been told he doesn't know the entire playbook.
He can't even
so
spell
I believe it. Again, I'm not mad at you guys. I'm mad at them. Why did they draft this guy? They knew exactly what they were getting. That's the point.
That's true.
What do you care? Are you kidding me? You didn't know this when you saw him on a Swan. You didn't know this when he got kicked out of the Manning camp?
Yeah, the Manning
When he got kicked out of that. What? You knew all these things. Don't be
Maybe they're
surprised.
trying to discipline him so he plays like a Brown, and until he is, like a young colt, right? they're trying to break him until he understands what playing like a Brown means. And once he understands that, he'll get his opportunity to start. Having said that, then they should have never put him in the game last week.
Exactly.
Okay,
I'll buy that.
get everybody's hopes up.
Eric, the
Great
referee,
point.
what do you
That's
got?
a good point.
No, I agree with you guys. I mean, you knew what you were getting yourself into when you drafted Manziel. I mean, but the time now is to see what you got because there's a lot of good quarterbacks coming out. I mean, I think Manziel's got 3 games to not only prove how good he can be, but what he can do if he's a starting quarterback. I mean, how does he handle himself? What's he going to do on his days off? If he's given the job, is he still going to go to Cavs games, or is he going to be more serious now? I don't know. We'll
Eric,
see.
I got no problem with him going to Cavs games if he can call a play. You know, like if you can do your job, you can do whatever the hell you want. But when you're not doing your job at a good level, you do have to care about all these other things that are going on around you.
But what if what if this happens? If he fails a little bit here as a rookie, maybe he realizes, all right, I got to get my act together. I got to actually hit the books.
What makes you think that? It's the same reason why you don't think that Josh Gordon's not going to get suspended again. Exactly. He's been suspended every time at every level. Exactly. You think Josh is going to have another problem somewhere down the road? Yes or no?
Probably.
What do you think?
Most likely.
I mean, you are what you are. It's not going to change.
No.
You think Manziel's going to suddenly have an epiphany?
You hope it does, though, because this is the most important position in all of sports.
Yes.
And maybe at some point he'll realize that this is different than college. This is one of 32 starting jobs in the National Football League at quarterback. Like I said, I think it's the most important position in any sport, period. Okay, you go as far as your quarterback takes you.
Right.
And unfortunately for the Browns, I'm looking down at it now, the quarterback rating of Brian Hoyer, 50.7 over the last 4 games. They're 1-3. So for me, even with everything we've talked about Johnny and maybe his lack of professionalism, I've got to see what I have in him, so at least I have an inkling, a little bit of an understanding of what he can actually do on the field, and maybe if he's given this responsibility, that he will grow up a little bit and respect it more and not be out of the Cavs game during the week until the season is over.
Hang on one second. I'm talking to Ryan Leaf. Hang on one second.
Oh.
Ryan, what? Oh, you're getting extradited back to town? Okay, I got you. He is what he is. Ryan Leaf was what he was.
Right.
And you know what? Just expect it.
Well, no.
Give him the ball. Let him go. At this
Some
point.
guys do mature, though. Some guys do grow up. I'll give you a perfect example, and this is from my personal life, and somebody needs to do this with Johnny. When I was 19 years old going to college, my dad said, hey, man, be willing to give up the next 4, 5, 6 years of your life, and then you can do whatever the hell you want to do. But give up these next 4 or 5 years of your life so you can become or figure out who and what you want to be. Now, did I follow that advice perfectly? No. But in the back of my mind, I always knew, give up this time to enjoy the rest of your life. Somebody needs to go to Johnny and says, Johnny, all the stuff you're doing right now, you can do, and it'll be 10 times better if you get engaged to what really matters right now. This opportunity is only going to last so long. You know that. Kenny knows that. Tim knows that. I know that. Is anyone telling Johnny that? Because in 3 years, nobody, if this continues, what you just said is exactly what we'll laugh about Johnny. We'll lump him with Jamarcus, Ryan Leaf, RG3. We'll just lump him together with every guy that just wasted their opportunity.
Go ahead.
If Manziel puts up, though, no one will care about his habits. I mean, look
That's
at
right.
Joe Namath. Was Joe Namath a partier? I mean, granted, that was
Different time,
40 years
different
ago.
place, right.
But still, I mean,
Jim
no
McMahon
one
comes
cared
to
because
mind,
he
guys,
was
right? Jim McMahon was
Yeah.
a party animal. He enjoyed his life, Spuds McKenzie type quarterback.
But
back in
the
day,
point
right?
here is, though, and I think
Granted,
that he's proved
he had
it.
the most unbelievable defense around him, and Walter Payton in the backfield, so maybe he could slack off and be who he was. But at some point, it's got to sink in for Johnny.
But the point here is that Mike Pettin is going to have to change to want Johnny Manziel to come in. If Manziel comes in and has success over the last 3 weeks, then Mike Pettin's going to be the one that has to change. Agree or disagree?
I don't know, because
He's going to have to bite the bullet. Because, if he's old school, Johnny's not.
Well, we'll have to see about that. The other thing I'll say,
He'll have to adjust. I don't want to say change completely. He'll have to adjust a little bit if Johnny comes in and they win 2 out of the last 3 games that he starts, and they finish 9-7, just missing the playoffs.
the one thing I'll say, I've seen this. Peyton Manning goes out and drinks, has a good time. He picks and chooses his times to do it. Tom Brady goes out and drinks. You've seen pictures. He goes out with his wife. He picks and chooses the correct
Most of those are in the offseason, though, aren't they, Trey?
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. I've been to the Combine in Indianapolis when Peyton Manning was a quarterback, and he's out till 3, 4 in the morning, and we all see it. And nobody thinks, and he has a good time. But nobody judges him because there's no football game this week.
Yep.
It's that simple.
All right, Kenny, we're going to come back to you a little bit later. We're going to talk to you. We'll catch up with your we didn't even do Kenny's keys. We'll get to those in a bit. Thanks,
Okay,
Kenny.
sounds good, guys.
All right, we'll talk to you in a bit. What, Eric, the referee, what do you got?
Nothing. I'm trying to produce a show here.
No, you're looking at me. You're like, come to me, come to me. You raise your hand. Did you ever see him do that?
Oh, yeah.
See, because your back's
I keep my back.
Let's go to Kelly in Cleveland on the phone line. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What do you think, Kelly?
My thing is, this Hoyer thing is driving me crazy. I hope at the end of the season he takes his talent and goes someplace else. Cleveland, I love Cleveland. I've always loved the Browns. But the fans are so two-faced. They never stand behind their quarterbacks. When they're good, they're good. They're bad, they're bad. There's 11 people on the team, on the field. He's not the only one making mistakes. But he's the one who's blamed for everything. You pull Johnny Manziel out there, you get a spark. A spark doesn't always win a game.
Kelly, good stuff.
She's right.
Kelly, thank you for the phone call. If I had something to give you, I'd give you something. We don't have anything.
She's right.
Free bag air. Kelly, good phone call. Thank you, Kelly.
I mean, look, the Browns want to win more than you. And I know some fans don't want to hear this or believe
Wait,
this.
you're telling me that they go to the game and they expect to win? They want to win?
A little bit.
Really?
That's
crazy talk.
I know some people won't believe this because I know they've put all their
There's
money
some
into it.
sabotage there?
Nah, they want to win more than you want to win. Seriously.
Really?
I swear to God.
man.
I swear. They want to win.
This was all set up perfectly. This is the way the script was written.
Yeah, right. But they do. Now,
Goodell wrote the script just
let me
like
ask
this.
you
Didn't
this.
catch that?
How many weeks in a row do you have to miss a field goal?
Before you cut a guy. Who's talking about that?
How many weeks? Was it
He's
real
got to be
five?
gone, right?
Yeah,
Here's the thing.
They brought guys in last
Were we
last
saying
week.
the exact same thing on the special teams with fair catches
Yeah.
and dropping and fumbling punts, and there was no change made. So you do not know.
Hey, shout out to Marlon Moore, though. He played his rear end off yesterday. Obviously, all the Josh Cribbs talk got into the locker room. Don't ever let those players tell you they don't hear what's going on in the media. They played with something extra yesterday against Josh Cribbs.
Well, they weren't going to give the fans a chance
to say I told you
do
so.
that.
That's
All right,
what that was.
let's go quickly to Howie Smith, who's on Skype 1. Hi, Howie. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How you guys doing?
Good. Weather looks good there. Where are you? Today, huh?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. We went to a great Browns backers bar yesterday called Street Meat. And the owners are actually Browns fans, and the only game on was the Browns game. But I'm really upset with the offense because they cost me at least 2 Jello shots. The owners bring out a whole tray every time there's a touchdown. So you got 3 free Jello shots yesterday. We should have had 5.
Yeah, you should.
It's all about the Jello
And
shots,
you should have had a winning one afterwards, Howie. What do you do? What do you do?
I'd have put one for the whole bar.
I'm with you. What do you do with the quarterback situation? Obviously, it's a problem.
Well, the way it is right now, it's like we had the brand new minivan to start the season. We took it out of the garage. We've been letting Hoyer drive it around. We have a Corvette sitting in there, maybe. Might have a loose tire. We don't know. But it's time to give the kid the keys and let him try. At this point, we have to win all 3 games, and the Steelers have to lose 2 for us to get in. If the Steelers and us end up tied, they have the the conference tiebreaker far and away. So I don't know what else to do at this point.
So he admitted it himself. And then this week you have the coach say, well, we wanted to get Taylor Gabriel. We wanted to get all these other guys, their reps back.
Get back to where you were.
Right.
Right.
And I said that to you 2 weeks ago. I go, remain who you are. They changed who they were. And I get it. Josh Gordon is a supreme talent. He's a supreme something else, too.
Well, one of the
There's no
problems
rules on the show. Go ahead. Knock it out of the park, man.
Go ahead, Howie.
with the thing with Hoyer, the thing with Brian Hoyer is, I've been supporting him all year long, hardcore. Every time we go out to the games on a Sunday afternoon to the bar, we are, people yelling for Manziel. I'm saying, give it to Hoyer, give it to Hoyer. He can do it. He's solid. But the last month or so, I've been, spewing a lot of crap. So I think when we finish the little discussion this morning, I'm probably going to go back and brush my teeth 3 or 4 times and get the taste of bullshit out of my mouth.
Well, at least you're in Hilton Head, Howie. You can enjoy it.
Enjoy it. Go play a little bit of golf. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Howie.
Sounds great. Thanks
Take
a lot,
care, buddy.
guys. Have a good day.
All right. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about. Do we have to?
Are Steelers in the? We're going to go to Lodi. Is that?
Yeah,
what's
we're going to go
next?
to Matt Lodi.
Are they in the driver's seat in the AFC North?
Well, let's find out. Let's ask Matt Lodi. Hi, Matt Lodi from SteelersGab.com. Hi. Are the Steelers in the driver's seat?
Is that your Howie towel behind you?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm
such
trying to
an
imitate Howie. I'm going to make my own set back here and hang a big blanket up and everything like that. So, since I can't go to Hilton Head like Howie, I'm going to try to do my best to imitate him. So,
You guys had a good game going yesterday, back and forth with the Bengals. Bengals were scoring. A.J. Green played out of his mind, which isn't surprising if you've watched the Steelers DBs this year.
Yep.
But the Steelers, I think that, what was it, 94-yard touchdown that Roethlisberger had, that, and Le'Veon Bell, maybe, no one's talking about it, maybe the best. He's one of the top 3 players in the NFL right now. He's playing unbelievable.
Yeah, I think when you watch this football team and you watch them offensively, they call them the killer bees all of a sudden. At least that's kind of what they named them yesterday between Roethlisberger, Brown, and Bell. Those 3 guys are playing really pretty good football. And I know last week, obviously, a major letdown at home when they lost to the Saints. But, yesterday was by far the bigger game in beating Cincinnati. And, you asked about, are the Steelers in the driver's seat? Well, if they win the last 3, yeah, they will win the division because their final game of the year is at home against Cincinnati. And, I expect that game now more than likely to be flexed to Sunday night just because the division should be on the line if the Steelers can win the next 2 against Atlanta and against Kansas City. The Atlanta game is on the road. The Kansas City game is at home. And, of course, I'm not saying that that's going to happen only because the Steelers are so bad against bad football teams, meaning they'll probably lose to Atlanta and then beat Kansas City and then line up to, again, take on Cincinnati on Sunday, the 28th for the division title. So we'll see. But offensively yesterday, they were not afraid to take chances. Once they were able to kind of find themselves defensively in the second half, they were able to get things going. And I thought the team played just a pretty good football game. And, I was thinking about it walking to the car after the Browns game. Really, Le'Veon Bell and DeMarco Murray to me right now, you have to put them up there as the 2 best running backs in football. I don't know anybody that's playing better right now than those 2 guys. And Antonio Brown, too. I mean, another big day yesterday. And like you said, Andre, defensively, they're still not very good. I mean, they're not. They're going to be a team that ends up not making it to the promised land because of their defense, which is odd to say. But at the same time, at least it looks like they're going to try to get a chance to be there. And who knows what will happen at that point.
Hey, what's your view of the AFC North? I mean, flaky is the word that I use. It's because you just can't. I can't sink my teeth into any team in the North. Just when you think it's the Ravens, the Browns peek up there for a second, and then you look all of a sudden Cincinnati. Now it's Pittsburgh. What's your view of the North?
Well, I don't think it's as good of a division as everybody thinks it is. As a matter of fact, all 4 teams have major flaws. Yep. The Steelers' secondary is terrible. Cincinnati is way too inconsistent for me. I still don't think Andy Dalton is the great quarterback that they think he is. The Ravens, I think age is going to catch up to them. I think we've already seen it this year, how it has caught up to them a little bit. And same with the Browns. I mean, I think that, again, if you were to say early in the year, or, after that opening day against Pittsburgh, that they were going to win 7 games and we'd be sitting here in December and they'd still have a shot at a playoff berth at some point. I know it's getting few and far between now with that loss yesterday. I think you'd be pretty happy about that. So I think the North is one and done. I think if Cincinnati wins the division, like a lot of people still think they'll do, and ends up playing San Diego again, let's say in the first round, I think they would lose. I think if the Steelers win the division, they would lose at home to a team like, they could very easily lose at home to a team like Baltimore or lose at home to a team, like I just said, San Diego, I think would give them a lot of problems. I just think all 4 teams have major flaws. Nobody by far is, as good as Denver, as good as New England. And I think we've seen, like you said, Andy, week in and week out, each team has had their good weeks, and they've also had their really bad weeks. And as I said, like I think I said last week, the Steelers could easily be 11-2 or 10-2 or whatever it is if they would beat the bad teams. And just the fact that they're not tells me that they're not close to being, a dominant team in this division. Same with the Bengals, same with the Ravens, and, of course, the Browns as well.
All right, Matt Lodi, thank you very much. SteelersGab.com. We're all over it. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
From the Matt Lodi Studios.
Who do you think is the best team in AFC North right now? I thought you rolled your eyes.
I think they're like 2 or 3 plays away from separating between every team. You see Cincinnati look bad against the Browns. You see Cincinnati look bad against the Steelers yesterday. Yeah, I wonder. I sit there and I say the Ravens are the best team. I don't know.
2 more corners were hurt. We'll talk to Garrett later on. They had 2 more corners hurt yesterday as well.
So they're in trouble.
They're in trouble. Well, which quarter? All right, let's go back to this. Which quarterback in the North would you, if you had one game, which one would you take? Roethlisberger? Me too.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah. For Roethlisberger or Flacco is who I would take. And right now, as Matt just said, offensively, the Steelers got something going. Defensively, though, they're awful. They're awful on defense. And when's the last time we've said that?
You don't. Let's. We're going to go to Tim Couch here in a second. We'll hook up with him. What else do we have coming up a little bit later in the show? We're going to talk to the president of the Chicago Browns Backers Club. Nice. Craig Lindell's going to join us a little bit later. We'll do our grade the team.
Probably can't wait to come on and talk about how great.
Oh, Roger Shenwau's with us. We've also got our captions. We've got all that stuff right. Let's go back to Tim Couch. Let's talk to Tim. Hey, Tim, welcome back.
Hey, guys. Thank you.
All right, we were just talking a little bit about the AFC North, and flaky was the word I used to describe it. How would you describe the AFC North?
I don't think you can describe it any other way but that. You just never know week to week what you're going to get from all these teams. And, they've all been really inconsistent. They've all looked really, really good at times. But, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, here in down the home stretch. But, I'll tell you, at times Pittsburgh looks like, they can put points up on anyone. And then other games, like when they played the Jets, it looks like, they don't look like the same team. So it's been really inconsistent. It's tough to call who's going to come out of this division, but probably if I had to choose right now, I would probably take Cincinnati. I think they've been, somewhat the most consistent throughout the year.
You're right. And Cincinnati's problem, I continue to say this, is that they haven't played with their middle linebacker all year, and I'm not putting it on one player, but he makes a big difference in that. And when they don't have Burfict, they don't have a guy that can stop the run and puts that. He's a quarterback in their defense, and for whatever reason, when they don't have him, they give up points, Tim, and they give them up in bunches.
Yeah, they do. It makes a big difference not having that middle backer in there, especially in this division, where teams are going to come out and try to pound the football. When you don't have that middle backer in there, it definitely makes a huge difference.
Tim, I want to go back to this because I think we just touched on this after we talked to you last time. But for Mike Pettin to make the switch to Johnny Manziel, I mean, there's some old school versus new school philosophy there. How much of a battle is that when your head coach doesn't like the way you act, but if you're able to perform on the field, he has to adapt, and there's got to be some kind of middle ground there, isn't there?
Yeah, I think so. I think the thing that's going to always be the case with Johnny is he's a gamer. I don't think he's ever going to look great during the week of practice. He's just not that type of guy. And there's been players like that before who've been really successful that, you look at them during the week and you're like, I don't know about how this is going to play out on Sunday, but they get out on the field on Sunday when the lights come on and they're just a gamer, and I really think Johnny is one of those guys, and you kind of just have to throw him out there and see what you have, and see that's the way he was at Texas A&M. Just talking to the coaches and all that. It wasn't like he was a guy who was, in the film room all day long studying and doing all that, and he wasn't a great practice player. But they put him out on the field, and he just makes plays. I think his competitiveness takes over during these games. The guy is a highly, highly confident type of player. And, you just kind of got to throw him out there and see what happens. And, he certainly has the natural instincts to make plays. He's got that thing you want in a quarterback, that kind of it factor late in football games, in college I'm talking about, where he would just grind it out, man. And it didn't always look great, but he would find ways to make plays and win football games. And hopefully that's what you're going to see at this level as well.
Tim, I agree with you. I think he's a gamer. I think that's the easiest way to go about it. I think, but it's difficult, and you know this, for NFL coaches just to go with a gamer. Because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know how to play call. How do you call plays for a guy? I mean, they've been a very regimented offense for 12 weeks. And now you're going to come in and say, let's let John. And you know this better than we do, Tim. Some NFL coaches can allow that. A lot of them, though, their egos are just as big as the quarterbacks, and they want you to do exactly what they say. And remember, Shanahan just went through this in Washington. Don't you think that plays into this a little bit, Tim?
Oh, absolutely. And I think you're exactly right. I think that's kind of what the holdup is with Coach Pettin, as far as, that coaches want to see, I know exactly what I'm getting from this quarterback. And you're probably not going to see that with Johnny. And that's probably what's holding him back about putting him in the game. Is this kid really going to be able to perform at the level we want him to? Because we really don't see that in practice and leading up to the game. But it is going to be very difficult to change the style of offense and change the way they call plays, because how much does Johnny know? You don't know how much of the playbook he actually understands as compared to Brian. And it's one thing to know it in the film room, in the quarterback room, say, yeah, I know what my reads are on this play. But when you get out on the field and it starts moving around fast and the defense is adjusting and they're showing you different things that you haven't seen, how well do you really know the offense? And that's what it really comes down to with a young quarterback. And that's probably, a big concern with Johnny right now is, how well can he adapt on the field, on the fly within this offense? Can he change a play? Can he get you out of, a wrong call and get you into the right look and where it'll be beneficial to the offense? But, those are things that you just don't know yet. You have to put him out on the field and see if, when the lights come on, if he can adjust and, make plays on the fly.
All right, Tim, we're going to come back to you in about 5 minutes to grade the team. So thanks, Tim. We'll come back to you in a couple minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Let's go. A question real quick.
Yeah,
we
sure.
can ask the next person.
No,
we'll be real quick with this.
Okay.
The Browns have 7 wins, 3 games left.
Right.
Is this a positive football season for Cleveland Brown fans?
I think it is.
I do too, but is it going to be ruined in the last 3 weeks because of what ifs? I'm asking.
No.
'Cause you know how our town works.
I think
This
when
is
you
a
come
positive-
back, yeah, but here's the problem. Everyone gets all upset. Everybody gets all bummed out. And then all of a sudden, when we head back into the season next year, like, hey, man, they won 7 games with Brian Hoyer as their quarterback. Look how many guys are still on this team. And then there'll be optimism going into next season.
I hope, because that's the one thing I hope comes out of this season. This has been a great building block. Let's be honest. I'm being honest. I never, at the highest of high, after that Cincinnati win, and we came in Friday morning.
Right.
I still didn't think they were a playoff team.
Right.
I thought they played well. I think this has been a really good year, and I think that's going to get lost in the translation over the last 3 weeks. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know. I hope I'm wrong.
If I could make up one rule for this city, and it goes against this show, I would implement, and I just read
Make
the
it a
story.
rule?
It was a pretty good story. I don't know, just because my kids are playing more youth sports, I've been reading a lot more articles about youth sports and stuff. So one of the things, and I was reading this in, it was a USA Hockey magazine, the 24-hour rule. If you just wait 24 hours after a game and then think about it and digest it, it has a whole different taste or a whole different look than it does. And this is in the article I was reading, it was just about wait 24 hours before you talk to a coach. Wait 24 hours before you do that, and then you'll go with your true gut feeling.
Doesn't fit our society, but
No.
it's a great way to live
Well, it
life.
goes against patience.
And it should be anything in life.
Right.
You know, anytime you make a mistake or do something well, but it's hard in our society right now to do that. Because the whole Johnny
Because you can get 10,000 different flavors at Starbucks right now. That's right.
Now.
2
And
seconds.
I don't hate Johnny Manziel. I want to see Johnny Manziel play. But I do get it. I got a little old school in me too. I get kind of where Mike Pettin is coming from as well. I do. And it goes back to, if you have so many problems with what a guy does off the field and when he shows up, why did you draft him?
I agree. I'm
Right?
100% with you. What do you got?
It's also funny, too. It's a what have you done for me lately league. And the expectations for Browns fans, I mean, at the beginning of the year, like I said, if you had said 7-6, I would have been thrilled. But now the fact that we lost 2 games, I mean, now
It's
I'm
how
not
you
thrilled.
lose them.
Right,
It's all perspective. Everything's
It's the
perspective.
same way with, like, at the beginning of the year with the
What if they end up 10-6?
I'd be
That's the
thrilled.
most amazing season I think we could
But
ask for.
honestly, I bet a lot of fans would be like, "Well, we should have made the playoffs."
Oh,
And
yeah.
we were
Oh, yeah.
in position.
There's gonna
we
be
were in
you're
position.
right.
Okay, there's you know what? There's something good for hunger.
Eric's right, though. They can win 19 games, and there's going to be 45% of people are going, they screwed the season up.
Of course, they should have played Manziel earlier, because that would have meant that Johnny comes in and wins 3. Let's go to Craig Lindell, who's in the now new Waiting for Next Year studios. Look at that.
Craig,
Woo!
look at you.
You are styling. What's going to be on Waiting for Next Year today? This will be interesting.
Well, it's funny you guys were talking, the conversation you were having just before we went live here, because that was kind of the same thing that I was talking about in my recap from yesterday. It's this idea of, if I told you that the Browns would be 7-6, before the season started, would you have taken it? And the answer is yes, of course. And yes, eventually we'll probably look at this as something of a successful season and a building season. But when you're in it, you're going to game, you get greedy. And it feels like the Browns left something on the table yesterday specifically, and it hurts.
No, you're right, Craig. I mean, it's easy to say, hey, 24 hours ago, none of us thought that the Browns were better than the Colts. But at 1:30 yesterday, Ben, we threw that out the window and we said, hey, we're beating the Indianapolis Colts. We're making Andrew Luck look like a bad quarterback.
His wife might call him that.
You think so?
Yeah, why not?
You think he goes to Pacers games on Tuesday nights?
Probably. I bet he does. And you know what? No camera shooting.
Oh, is that what he has?
So he's got a little deal.
Okay, Craig, what do you make of all the peripheral things that are said about Johnny Manziel right now?
I tend to disagree a little bit with what Andy was saying, because Andy was saying, you knew what you had when you drafted this kid, and I think the Browns did to a certain extent. They defended his offseason in Vegas and this, that, and the other. But I really do think that it was their expectation, and maybe a reasonable expectation, that his in-season activities would be a little more in line. I mean, we've all been there, and obviously none of us are Johnny Manziel. None of us have had those opportunities, but we've all been kind of in the college routine where we maybe drank and partied too much, and then we got our first real job, and it's an adjustment period, and you find a more professional groove. And I don't think it's unreasonable to draft a guy with a party boy lifestyle and a party boy attitude, and then expect him to come in, lock down a little bit, and take things a little bit more seriously. I guess, shame on the Browns for not knowing what they had when they drafted him, but I think they've been very fair about his off-season exploits, but the in-season stuff, if he's not doing what they think he should be doing, then, that's on Johnny. It's not on the Browns for drafting him.
Yeah, I can see why you say that. What's that?
I just my only point here is, I mean, you knew what you were getting. Johnny Manziel going to a Cavs game on a Tuesday night, where he might have had a chance to be a starter, is just, it is what it is.
It is, but you still haven't named one guy in the league that would do that.
I don't know what these guys are doing on Tuesday.
You do know.
Hey, maybe Brian Hoyer going for a Christmas tree at Petiti's yesterday. What a great shout out.
You know who would? Jay Cutler.
I mean, if Phillip Rivers, but see, you know how this works. Like the Cavs are in Brooklyn tonight, right?
Right.
And isn't the Prince and everybody going to be there?
Right.
Come on, if you're a top 10 starting quarterback in the NFL, and you go to a game, it's known. Right or wrong, it's an image thing. As you know, it's like I'm not saying it's right
what
or
about
wrong.
Braylon Edwards shipping down to go watch Ohio State, Michigan?
Great example.
Right.
Look where he's at.
I agree.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
Braylon had all the talent in the world, and Craig, because that's the thing I keep saying to people. I get it. I love being 22 years old. I love being 23 years old. But I had people around me that were like, hey, if you really want a career, you might want to take this back a little bit and enjoy being employed rather than enjoy the moments when you're not at work. That's hard for Johnny right now, because Johnny enjoys the moments when he's and
So
God
is he
bless
benched
him.
because his birthday was Saturday night? Is that what
Well,
you're
I
saying?
don't think that's even a part of it. No, because it's not like players can go out on Saturday night. He's in the team hotel. I don't know why we made a big deal about that. He's not like he can go out then. He was out Friday night, and God bless him, half the NFL is out Friday night. I'm not killing the kid. But at quarterback,
But you're holding him to a higher standards because he's a quarterback.
thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I am.
All right,
Quarterbacks. You said it best for me. Sorry, Craig.
All right, Craig, give us what's coming up on Waiting for Next Year.
Obviously, the winners and losers, we'll be talking about all this. And I guess my last point would be just that I think that I agree more with Andre on this one, just because if you know who you're chasing and what you're chasing, it doesn't look like he cares to act the part of the guy he's chasing, and he's just waiting to be named quarterback, and that bugs me.
I agree.
I understand it, but he is what he is.
And
We
Craig,
all knew that.
And Craig, speaking of winners
We
and
all knew
losers, and whether this is right or wrong, what Craig just said, I think, is the problem they have in the locker room right now. When you have a Joe Thomas come to the head coach and say, and I think this played into Mike Pettin, where he goes, no, we want to go with the guy that's struggling terribly.
Right.
We don't want to go with that guy. It's an image thing. They don't trust for Joe Thomas to say that means they don't trust him, right?
Hey, Andre,
Yes.
we got to before you guys cut me off. We've got to talk about Joe Thomas one of these days, because I love Joe Thomas. Everybody loves Joe Thomas, but he cannot be trusted when it comes to asking about who should play where. He loved Pat Shurmur. He was all in the tank for Pat Shurmur. Joe Thomas is the greatest team guy in the history of professional sports, the history of the Cleveland Browns. He cannot be trusted when it comes to choosing a quarterback.
You're right. That's a great point. Craig, we can do
All right,
that
you're
all
cut
night.
off then. We'll see you later. Bye,
Good stuff,
Craig.
Take care, buddy.
WaitingForNextYear.com. Let's go to Betty really quick. She's on the phone line. Hello, Betty.
Well, hello.
How are you?
How are you, Betty?
Still waiting for that T-shirt.
Yeah, well, call the desk. Call the newsroom.
but
I can take mine off and throw it to you.
Okay.
Well, would you stop? This is getting a family show, man.
No rules.
I'll take it.
Oh.
Well, I'm
Okay.
saying I'm going to be game up, and I'm still saying go
Oh,
Browns.
Betty, your phone's dying out on me. Keep going, Betty.
Go Browns.
Okay, good.
All right, there you go. All right.
Thanks, Betty.
Let me read something real quick.
All right, read something real quick.
And then I got a video to show you guys.
Oh,
It's
let's
pretty
see the
funny.
video.
Let's see the video, and then I'll read what I.
Okay, so I'm just seeing this. I don't know if you guys saw this earlier, but it's like a Deadspin video. It was in the third quarter.
Can you drop the Dogs on the Run Super so we can see it? Because I can't see it.
So you got.
He didn't really say that one, did he?
Yes, he's lip synced, I guess, saying it. The lip read, and this is what they're saying. It was a third quarter pass where Hoyer overthrows Gordon, and
it was a bad throw.
Yeah, it looks like he's saying that.
We can't. I'm not. What are we in court now? Reading? You're really reading his lips. Look at you.
No, I'm just trying to see the whole thing.
Just watch Johnny.
Good. I hope Johnny would have said
Well,
that.
wouldn't that?
I don't really have a problem with that.
Neither do I. But
do you?
Still not a great.
No,
look.
I just think
it's interesting.
funny, yeah.
It's good to have it up there. All right, Doug Gottlieb.
All right, yeah, go ahead, Doug.
Played at Oklahoma State.
Yeah,
was a
yeah,
coach.
yeah,
It's on
whatever.
another, other couple letters.
Yeah.
When the announcement of when Johnny Manziel showed up. This is what he said, and I agree with this. Act like the job you want, not the one you have. Saying for Johnny, act like you want this job. Don't act like a backup. Act like a starter. Get your ass there on time. That's what.
But he was there on time.
No, see, you know better. You know better. You know better. If you were running the Browns,
I do think that there is a point in the NFL where it's too much. There's a point where it's just Johnny
is it too much for
Johnny
Peyton
is
Manning?
not. No.
Is it too much for Peyton Manning?
Well, let me ask you this: what's the best game of the year the Browns played this year? What's the best game?
The Cincinnati game.
How many days of preparation do they have?
2 days.
I think sometimes there's overkill.
Okay,
and there are some. I mean, there have been great coaches out there
I'm not
that
disagreeing
let
with
their
that.
guys go home, and they think there's an importance to going home at 6 o'clock at night, having dinner
There
with
are
your
some,
family.
and most of those guys get fired.
Yeah, but it's not right.
No, it's not. See, you're losing it on game day. The guy that leads you. Come on, you know this.
Well, I agree with you. I don't think you can be there early enough. I understand all
I know
that.
you are.
But my problem is he is who he is. It's not going to change.
But don't you think at some point in time the light bulb goes off and he goes?
So
he goes.
there's only
"Wait,
one person that's going to call him and change that light bulb. He's in town. Want to guess who that is?
Who's that?
You think LeBron calls him and says, "You need to start doing this"?
I don't know. I think LeBron at some point in time will have to. I can give you the perfect example. Opening day of the Cavs.
Right.
Joe, and I have told you the story off there. Joe Hayden comes out after halftime with a plastic cup. Joe Hayden's wife comes out with a plastic cup. They all have a drink in their hand or whatever else. Johnny had one. And you know what Mav Carter did? Put his arm up and stopped them. So Johnny, he said, don't go out there with that cup.
Right.
And you could see it.
Right.
So Johnny downed it, threw the cup down, and went and sat down.
All right, well, someone's got his back.
But he needs more of that, obviously, is my point. Not the guy that's driving up and down West 6th Street at 2:30 a.m. on Friday nights.
All right, time to play Grade the Team. Let's go, Eric the referee. Everybody's in. Kenny Rhoda's in. Tim Couch is in as well. Eric the referee, where do we start?
All right, you guys know where we start. Start at quarterback, Brian Hoyer, 14 of 31, 2 interceptions, and then that costly one in the end zone. What do you guys think of Brian Hoyer?
Let's start with the quarterback himself, Tim Couch. Tim?
Really poor. I gave him a B minus. I really thought that, Coach Petty going to him and sticking with him in this football game, playing at home, that he would turn it around and have a big game. But, he just didn't do it. He didn't look good. He didn't look comfortable. He had opportunities to hit big plays. The one we just saw in the video with Josh down the sideline, another one down the middle, would have completely changed the game. Guys wide open. He overthrew him. I just think he has really lost his confidence at this point in the season. So D minus for me.
Kenny Rhoda.
Kenny is consistent, baby. I love it.
What else is there to give him, guys? A 50.7 quarterback rating over the last 4 games, a 1-3 record, missing high on throws, wide open throws, as we saw that video there to Josh Gordon. Mike Pettin stuck his neck out for him and gave him another opportunity to prove him right, and he failed miserably. There's no other grade to give Brian Hoyer for yesterday but an F.
Yeah. I went D minus. It was just awful. It was not a passing situation. It was awful to watch. And it's terrible to watch a guy completely lose his confidence, whether it's, no matter what sport it is. He couldn't hit the side of a barn yesterday. And for them to stick with him just maybe drove me even more crazy. It was a D minus, probably an F.
I don't know. I think the only reason I gave him a D, and to be the nice guy in this one.
You stopped by Mr. Hero before?
No, if Josh Gordon catches that ball at the end of the game and they win, it's still a D performance. But
it's a win.
There was still the opportunity was there. I wish I.
But he didn't.
He didn't. Well, Josh Gordon didn't catch the ball, right?
It wasn't the perfect throw. Was it a catchable ball? Yes. It wasn't a perfect throw. They're not in that situation if he hits Gordon, who's open by 15 yards earlier in the game.
Yeah. I agree with that. The other one that really stuck in my mind was it seemed like a forced pass, but after the game, Jordan Cameron said he ran the wrong route. Now, I don't know if he just...
Got a lot of that going on, too,
But,
guys.
that changes the whole game. You score that touchdown early on. Now his confidence is back. You got all these other things going on.
Do you think that's what's going through Mike Pettin's head, though, too?
Yes.
He knows Jordan Cameron screwed that play up. Jordan Cameron should flash across the middle. He doesn't. Now, Hoyer said, I shouldn't have thrown it, but he trusted him. So you have a guy in Gordon and Cameron who barely have played this year, but they're 2 of your best playmakers, and you're trying to put them out there in situations where you need them, and neither one of them are coming through for you.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's too much on the quarterback when they win. It's not enough when they lose, or the other way around, or something like that. All right, let's go to the next one because I think we all know. What's your next subject here?
All right, Isaiah Crowell, another touchdown. He now has 8 on the year. He's just 3 away from tying Trent Richardson's rookie record.
I don't know if I'd want that record.
Let's grade. You go first, Mr. Running Back.
I gave him a C. I thought in the first half they were explosive. I like how they used them. It says I gave him a D, but I think it says C on my paper, D. Hell, I'll give them a D. They were terrible in the second half. I think they only had 30-some yards in the second half. It's part offensive line, part play calling. To me, and I know there were a lot of 3-and-outs. But you should have fed those guys. If you go through Indianapolis's losses this year against the good teams, New England pounded them with the run game. Philadelphia pounded them with the run game. We all know I love DeQuell Jackson as a guy, but you run right at him. He's undersized. They didn't take advantage of that, and that's part of the reason they lost.
There's nothing offensively in the second half. There's no reason to give him anything higher than I don't even know what I gave him. Let's go to Kenny. Go ahead. I gave him a D. There was no reason for anything. Kenny, you gave him a C-.
I did. They cracked the 100-yard mark, and in years past, we would have been doing cartwheels and backflips down Euclid if that happened. So, and they were the only unit to get in the end zone yesterday, Crowell, with the touchdown. So it's not a very high grade, but I gave him a C-.
Let's go, Tim.
I gave him a B just for the simple fact that, in the first half, they go for over 90 yards rushing the football. I thought the backs looked really good in the first half. The second half, how many carries did both backs have combined? Like 10 carries at the most combined in the second half. And I think a lot of what the problem with the running game was that we couldn't complete a pass to stay on the field to keep a drive alive, and there was a lot of 3-and-outs and those type of things. So the running backs in the second half really didn't have an opportunity to make any plays. So I stuck with a B.
Fair enough. Let's go. Next one.
All right, we got wide receivers. I think the play that also not a lot of people are talking about was that catch that Gordon had that was then reviewed and ruled not a catch.
And you thought it was a catch?
No, I'm saying if you catch that ball, the game's over. I mean,
it was. Look, as much as I love Brian Hoyer, that was a horrible pass. I hated that pass.
Got to catch it.
It was on the ground.
Got to catch it. It was a bad pass. Got to catch it.
It was a hockey shot.
True, but Jordan Cameron led the way. 4 catches, 41 yards. Josh Gordon just 2 catches for 15 yards on 7 targets.
I don't know what it is, but the chemistry is all, up
Yeah,
since Josh is back. I can't explain it. Doesn't make any sense to me. You lose Miles Austin, you got all kinds of issues.
Can you imagine that we're sitting on December 8th and they missed Miles Austin yesterday? They really did. They missed him.
Tim, you went C- on this. Why?
Just drop balls. I think that the receivers, they had opportunities to make some plays that Brian overthrew. We all know about that, but they did drop some passes, that could have kept some drives alive. I really do think you guys hit on a good point. They missed Miles Austin, especially on those third down situations. Miles, he's not an explosive guy, but he's a chain mover. He keeps those drives alive, and he's a consistent guy, make those tough catches across the middle for you. And not having him out there yesterday really hurt the wide receiver group.
Kenny's so optimistic you give him an F+.
My first F+ of the year. Congratulations to the wide receivers who did not make enough big plays. Yes, Brian Hoyer was awful yesterday, but I watched probably 6 games yesterday, okay? And I've seen receivers on other teams make the quarterback look good, and nobody helped Brian Hoyer out yesterday in doing that. However, having said that, not having Miles Austin, and I never thought I'd say this, guys. Who'd have thunk it, right? Never thought I'd say that they missed Miles Austin, but Tim, you're right. He's accepted his new role where in Dallas he used to be that touchdown maker. Here, he's that first down maker, and not having him really hurt the team yesterday.
All right, interesting one to grade here. Defense is up next. We'll start with Tim. Tim, what do you have for the defense?
I gave the defense an A+. You're talking about going against one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the entire league. And the way they played throughout that game, 4 turnovers, 2 touchdowns on defense. They confused Andrew Luck the entire game. They got him off his spot with pressure. They made him move his feet. I thought the defense was awesome yesterday. They played as well as they could possibly have played, and it's a shame that performance went away. So A+ for me.
I'll buy everything you're saying. When the defense gets you 14 points, you should win games. Definitely, it would have been an A performance if they would have made 1 stop on Boom Herron. That was it. That was the difference between an A and a B for me.
Yeah, I gave him a B, but I agree. If they get that stop, they did have the opportunity to win the game late. But the turnovers, the way they were able to Andrew Luck looked terrible, and we don't see that. They played their rear end off. And if you're Coach Pettin and you're a defensive coach, guys, think about how he didn't sleep last night, because he came up with the perfect scheme for that Indianapolis Colts team.
Kenny.
I gave him an A, guys. Andrew Luck's quarterback rating was 59. They won the turnover battle, which was one of my keys, 4-2. I think it was 17 points off turnovers. And they gave Brian Hoyer short fields to work with, and he was unable to really capitalize on those short fields. And anytime you hold Andrew Luck to 25 points in a game, that means you should win that game because they're one of the highest scoring teams in the National Football League. It was a wasted performance by a unit that played its ass off yesterday.
All right, here's another fun one. Let's go to special teams right now, and I'll stay with you, Kenny. What do you have for special teams?
Well, special teams yesterday, when you look at it, the job they did on Josh Cribbs was outstanding. Spencer Lanning was solid. On kickoffs, they were solid. I gave them an A because I thought they outperformed one of the best special team units in the National Football League. The only reason it was an A- is because of the idiot kicker missing another short field goal. And while we're talking about a quarterback change today, it should be announced. I think Mike Pett needs to make that announcement. They should find a new kicker before next Sunday as well.
I agree. That was what the F was yesterday. Again, it cost you the game. The A was the ability to contain Josh Cribbs, man. They got their name called out all week, saying that Cribbs was going to jump in the dog pound, blah, 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 blah. Moore had an amazing game yesterday, so I gave everybody but Billy Cundiff an A.
Yeah, they brought it. Defensive-wise, they brought it. But Billy Cundiff, you got to go. And after the game, Billy Cundiff is talking about how people tell him how difficult nobody wants to hear about how it is difficult to kick in Cleveland. But after you have a bad day, don't go out there telling everybody.
I don't remember Phil Dawson ever saying that.
And that was the calmest day. There was no wind in the stadium yesterday.
It still doesn't matter. It's a tough place to kick in, but you don't need to do it. Don't tell people that. And he's smiling, going, guys tell me all the time how hard it is to kick here. Well, you're going to be in line telling the next guy that it's hard to kick here this week.
Tim?
I gave him an A. I thought that Benjamin got some things going in the return game for a change. I thought Marlon Moore was awesome on special teams coverage yesterday. They held Josh Cribbs to 4 yards on his return. So great performance. Besides obviously the missed field goal, but great performance overall in the coverage units for the special teams.
All right, let's go to Coach, and we start with you, Andre.
Coach, I give a C. I want it to make sense why the quarterback situation in the offense is what it is. They did a great job special teams yesterday. They did a great job defensively. Offensively, just a lot doesn't make sense in how they use the receivers and how they use the quarterback. I just feel like the last couple of weeks, and it's not just Coach Pettin, Coach Shanahan hasn't made a lot of sense, especially the Josh Gordon situation has changed this offense and not for the better.
I gave him a C. I think it's good. I mean, I really do. I don't have any problems with him. I like the way he coaches. I think that I just going back to the press conference at the end of the game and just how I feel his disappointment for Brian Hoyer not being able to come through for him. He gave him all the trust in the world, and I feel his frustration. And if everything that we're talking about with the old school philosophy with Johnny Manziel is true, then it is what it is.
Can't let your emotion get in the way of coaching, can you?
Well, he's not. I don't think he is, but I mean, you can feel that he gave him the keys, man. He gave Brian the chance.
And as a head coach, you got to have the you-know-whats to yank those suckers back when you need to.
Kenny, what do you got here?
I ended up giving them a D, guys, because defensively they deserved an A for their game plan and their execution. But as the head coach, you have to put your team in the best position to win. He thought that was Brian Hoyer when the game started. As the game unfolded yesterday, the leash should have been shorter on Brian Hoyer, or at least there should have been a Johnny package in the red zone to see if you could score touchdowns instead of field goal attempts in that game. And because he was unwilling to change and maybe loyal to a fault, I ended up giving him a D because I thought Johnny Manziel should have got a series or two in that game. If you were looking for a spark last week, okay, I understand they were winning, but the offense didn't do jack squat again. If you were looking for a spark in that second half, I would have gone to Johnny Manziel because he did not do that. That's why I gave him a D.
Tim.
I gave him a B-. I thought he did a nice job yesterday, especially that defensive game plan. The special teams unit played awesome. Offensively, I thought there were a lot of plays to be made, and I put a lot of that on the players. I thought they had opportunities to hit some big plays they didn't hit, and they just didn't execute at a high level. And it's hard for me to put a lot of that on coaching because I saw some opportunities. So I gave him a B-. Should he maybe have went with Manziel and gave Manziel an opportunity like Kenny said in the red zone? Probably so. I would agree with that. But I love the loyalty that he's going to stick with Brian. I think going into that game, it was the right decision to start Brian Hoyer and give Brian the opportunity to play at home and get things going in the right direction. But he wasn't able to do it, and probably should have seen Manziel a couple series here and there. But overall, I thought he did a great job.
All right,
last question: did the College Football Playoff Committee get it right?
What about starting quarterback? Does everybody agree that Manziel's supposed to start next week?
Yeah.
Except Andre. He wanted Tim Couch.
I want
Yeah,
Tim,
you
but
want
if it's
Tim.
not Tim, I'm going Johnny.
I'm with you, Andre. I'm ready, man.
You ready? Kenny, are you good
I'll
with
take
Manziel?
Tim. No, if I have my choice between Johnny or Tim, I'm still going with Tim. So, yeah, put me down for TC.
All right, you don't have a choice. You feel good about Manziel then next week to start?
I don't feel good about it, but I need to see it. I need to see the last 3 weeks, what he can do, or it's been a wasted year and a wasted pick.
Yeah,
All right.
I agree with him. I think they need to do
we're
what
all
they
the
did.
same.
I think they need to do what they did with Josh Gordon a couple of years ago, though. Give him like 10, 15 plays to master. Don't give him too much, and then go out and let him play with that.
All right, bonus question. Did the college football playoff committee get it right? Andre, go.
Yeah, they got it right. I mean, come on. Superdome is going to be sold out. You got to put the big schools there, and that's what it's all. Thank you, Johnny Jr. It's all about money, and they got the right 4 teams there.
Kenny.
Without question. You look at Ohio State down the stretch. They won 11 straight games. Yeah, you can call me a honk, whatever, but I've got the numbers to back it up. They won 11 straight since they lost against Virginia Tech. Was it a bad loss? Yes, but it was the second game for JT Barrett and that offensive line that had 4 new starters. And after that, they rallied. They won on the road at Michigan State, on the road at Minnesota, at a neutral site in the Big Ten championship game against the best defense, or arguably one of the top 3 defenses in the country. And not only did they just win, they won 59-0. They kicked Wisconsin's ass all over that field in Indianapolis, and they made a statement offensively, defensively, and with special teams. And right now, they're the one team nobody wants to play, and Nick Saban gets that opportunity. And it doesn't hurt also that brand behind me, the Ohio State brand behind me, that's going to sell tickets. Yeah. That's going to raise the advertising dollars. And the ratings for that first game between Alabama and Ohio State may be bigger than whoever plays in the national championship game.
Saban versus Urban Meyer.
Kenny, quickly before we go to Tim, just what do you have coming up on your radio show today?
We're going to get into all this. The Manziel, got to see him the rest of this season. Ohio State, now that they're in, do they have a chance to win a national championship? I have to eat crow. I picked them not to even be in the Big Ten championship game, and they went and won the damn thing. And this was at the beginning of the season and this past week. So do they have enough to actually win this thing as opposed to just getting in there? So we'll dive into that. And, hey, don't look now, but the Cavaliers are all alone. Well, I shouldn't say all alone. Percentage points ahead of the Bulls in first place in their division. They've just won 6 in a row. And we'll talk some high school football playoffs as well.
All right, thank you very much, Kenny. All right, Tim, college football, they get it right.
Absolutely, they got it right. I think Ohio State, just looking at it, they're the hottest team in the country, maybe only other than Alabama right now. 11 straight wins. And I think Urban Meyer, I think he doesn't get enough credit for what he's been able to do this year. You're talking about losing 2 of your starting quarterbacks, and then you go into the Big Ten championship game with a guy who's really never took any significant snaps, never started a game, and you win that game 59-0. I think that's all that the committee needed to see, was that this was still going to be the same team with the third string quarterback in there that they had been all season long. And once they proved that, I think they absolutely deserved to be in that playoff.
Tim, if Urban was at Ohio State and you were coming out of high school, would you have picked Ohio State over Kentucky? I'm just kidding.
I don't know. He runs a little bit too much of that zone read for me. I don't know if that was going to fit my style.
You went to the right place. It worked for you, brother.
It's all good. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it.
It worked out, didn't it?
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
Take care, Tom. Have a good one, man.
All right, we'll
guys.
talk
See
to
you
you
next
soon.
week.
All right, we got a ton of phone calls here, too. I want to get to these. First, let's go to Dave first, who's our good friend who's at WRTV in Indianapolis. Dave, thanks for holding on for the line. I appreciate it. Your thoughts on yesterday? Big win for the Colts.
Yeah, that was a big win for the Colts, and dare I say, probably one of the worst performances of the year for Andrew Luck and maybe even Reggie Wayne. I mean, that's as bad as I've seen Colts wide receiver Reggie Wayne in years, probably. You go back to his rookie year. So I'd say if you're a Browns fan, you wonder what if you're a Colts fan, you're lucky you got out of Cleveland alive.
Dave, it's funny you say that. I was going to say from the Colts standpoint, they've been scoring a lot of points. Things have been coming relatively easy for them. You think they needed a game like this before they got into the playoffs, a game where everything didn't go right and they found a way to win?
Well, I mean, we've pretty much figured out that, the Colts they're a good team. They're not a great team. They're going to beat the teams they probably should beat. They're going to lose to the New Englands, the Denvers. They were up on Philadelphia on Monday Night Football in week 2, and they blew that game. So I don't know that they need a wake-up call, but this certainly goes back to the fact that they need some things to work on. They have some things to work on if they want to make some hay in the playoffs.
Dave, concerns about Andrew Luck and his fumbling.
It's a concern. Andrew Luck is one of those guys that doesn't give up on a play, and there are several occasions this season where the dude should probably just tuck the ball, take a sack, and live to play another play. Instead, sometimes he tries to do too much. I mean, even the sack on that final game-winning drive for him, it opened up the series opened up with the sack. He's thinking about pitching it to Boom Herron just to try to make something happen. And there has been more than one occasion where he has tried stuff like that and it doesn't pan out. I don't know if he's just trying to do too much or what, but he's a guy that just doesn't give up. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. Dave, we appreciate the time, man. Enjoy this run. Hey, does Andrew Luck go to football games or go to basketball games on Tuesday nights?
On Tuesday nights?
Yeah, well, if they have an off day, would he go to see the Pacers play?
Is this a Cleveland Cavaliers question?
No, I'd say Johnny Manziel being at the Cavs game on Tuesday night question.
Luck is pretty much he keeps to himself. Now you'll see Reggie Wayne, you'll see Robert Mathis, you see some of the other Colts go to Pacer games on Tuesday nights, but very rarely do you see Andrew Luck running around town. I'll put it that way.
All right, thank you very much, Dave.
You,
Hey,
Dave.
we
Have a
appreciate the
wonderful
phone
day,
call.
man.
We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. See ya.
Thanks, Dave. You too. Dave first from our sister station, WRTV over in Indianapolis. So, what is your point?
I'm not. I don't hate Johnny. I want to see Johnny play. I do, but there's a way to carry yourself. You know it.
You don't buy seats on the front row. And so.
Yeah, if he sat in and I wrote that down, I'll tell everybody.
I know, you're right.
And go sit in the suite.
Robin, quickly. Hi, Robin. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good. What do you got for us?
Well, I've been a big-time Hoyer fan since he started, and I think us women think a little differently about this situation than you guys do. We seem to be more loyal to one than the other. We're not fickle.
Okay, so you're still more loyal. You still want to see Brian Hoyer next week?
I do, because I think he deserves the respect for the season that we've had. This is the best season we've had in years.
You're right, Robin,
And
but
I
didn't they
think,
respect him playing in the whole game yesterday?
You know what? I think it wasn't just Hoyer. I think there was a lot of other things. If we'd have made that field goal, we'd probably be having a different conversation right now.
All right, Robin, thank you very much.
Call,
Robin from Barberton checking in.
There were
Thank
some
you, Robin.
drops. There was this and that. He played terrible.
All right, this will be an interesting take. I can't wait to hear this. Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. Hello, Chris.
What's up, guys?
What's up, Chris?
All right, your thoughts today. As I was driving in, I was wondering, what did you think of yesterday's game? You were the one person in particular.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they wasted a brilliant defensive performance. When you're playing against Indianapolis and Andrew Luck, it's very, very difficult to hold that offense in check and do the things that the Browns defense did. I think that was the worst game that I've seen Andrew Luck play all season long. It was wasted because you didn't have a quarterback that could make any plays.
Is he that bad, or was the Browns defense that good yesterday?
Who's that?
Luck.
Andrew Luck.
I think the Browns defense is that good.
I think the Browns defense is one of the better defenses in the NFL over the last month or so. And I think the pass defense is the strength of this defense because of Joe Hayden, because of the pressure that they can put on the quarterback, because they take away half the field. So I don't think Andrew Luck was that bad yesterday. I think the Browns' defense was terrific. And when you have a defensive performance like that, you have to take advantage of it. You have to win that game.
They do. All right, Chris, let's talk about the quarterbacks. Obviously, Johnny rubs some people the wrong way with some of the things he does off the field. He should be he should play this week. I think we all agree. And I know you're a Johnny backer, but can you understand the old school people that are going, you got to act like a quarterback before they're going to let you play quarterback?
Without question. I don't think it's ever really been, for me, a Brian Hoyer versus Johnny Manziel thing. I think it's always been about what I think is right for this organization and what's right at the quarterback position. But Dre, you're right. It's the quarterback. It's the face of the organization. It's the leader of the offense. And if the NFL or the NBA or Major League Baseball was just about talent, you'd just draft the biggest, fastest, strongest, most athletic guys, and then you'd win. But it's not about that. There's a mental component to it. There's a preparation that has to go into it. There's a way that you have to carry yourself. And if you're the quarterback of the Browns, you've got to act differently. And until Johnny Manziel gets it, I think it's hard for all fans to support him the way that some fans supported Brian Hoyer.
Right. Forget the fans, the coaches.
Coaches too. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They know. They know what goes on in that building. They know how much work he's putting in. I don't know the dynamics of that locker room, but I haven't seen evidence that Johnny Manziel gets what it takes to be a franchise quarterback in the NFL.
But didn't we know, and this has been my argument the whole time, we knew this when they drafted him.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised. Why would anybody be surprised?
Because you hope guys mature. You hope you give them an environment where they get it, where they're not in college anymore. When you left your college, when you left the Kent State campus, were you the same Andy Baskin in Wyoming?
Of course I was. I've been exactly the same since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
What your thoughts on that, Chris? I mean, he is who we thought he was, though. And so I don't understand why they're so – I mean, he's a rookie quarterback in the NFL. And if you're going to be mad at him for being at a Cavs game on Tuesday –
Did Teddy Bridgewater win his second game yesterday?
Yes.
Second or third?
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen Teddy. I don't think we've seen Teddy over at
He was. I saw him at the Timberwolves game the other day. He was drinking beer. And it
Where's
said,
Connor Shalvin at?
He had Fireball next to him.
Yeah, Fireball next. And Pitbull. All of it.
And Pitbull.
It was his body at 55%.
Chris, have a good one.
Chris, you can answer that if you want.
About Pitbull?
No. I'm done. I'll see you, Chris. We'll read you. We'll read you the Play Dealer every day. Listening on 92.3 The Fan too. Great job yesterday too. I was listening. Thanks, Chris.
Take care,
talk
buddy.
to you later. What else? So much going on. Roger Shedwell. Let's go to Roger, former Brown. Roger, your thoughts on the Browns?
Well, it was a tough one yesterday. I mean, the defense played phenomenal. I think they really stepped up and showed what the defense, what we expected from them, I think, all season. Just unfortunately, from an offensive standpoint, they were just unable to do anything, which is sad because that's a game that we should have won and had every opportunity to do so.
Yeah, absolutely, Raj. Explain to people just how a quarterback is treated in the NFL, because for us that aren't in the locker room or don't play, I think a lot of people just see it, they see it like a video game. Yeah, I really do. I think people go, here's an emotional tug on who plays quarterback on an NFL team, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot expected, because when the offense doesn't do well, they don't necessarily look at the receiver end of it or even the running back or the line. They really look at the quarterback as the leader, and there's things that he needs to do. And when he's not performing at the level that everybody expects, or at least that the team needs in order to win, I can't imagine what he's got going through his head this morning before they get ready to go over the film.
Roger, who's your starting quarterback next Sunday?
That's a tough one. I think that everybody wants to see Johnny. I want to see him as well, but I still think that.
Oh, that was the ultimate cliffhanger right there.
Oh, Raj.
Oh, we lost the signal.
I have to question.
Oh, no, he's back. He's back.
as
Okay,
well.
wait, Roger, you cut off. You said, I still want to see blank. Go ahead.
Oh, I said I still want to see Johnny. People want to see Johnny, and I want to see him as well. But I still think that if we go the last three games and knock out everybody, we still got a chance. So I think that the coaches have a tough decision ahead of them.
Thank you, Roger. We appreciate it. Thanks. All right,
Isn't it amazing every player that we talk to, ex-player that we talk to, still sticks with Brian Hoyer? Jamil White last week. Seriously,
Tim didn't.
Tim did. Tim did. You're right. Tim didn't. And Tim didn't blame him for not taking him out because he's a quarterback.
I didn't blame him for not taking him out yesterday.
You wouldn't have taken him out yesterday?
No, I would have given him a chance. Again, if Josh Gordon catches that ball, they win, and we're all talking about something different. I mean, it's that close.
I am not just.
And the other thing, the thing about Brian is that he's led you to wins before. I mean, that's the hard part. If you know you can drive down that road with him, no matter how bad it's looked. How many bad first halves they have, and they turn things up in the second half?
I want a coach that's patient, that sticks with his guys. I think all of us want to work.
Well, that's what you had yesterday.
Yes. Don't we all want to work for Mike Pettin?
Yes.
So I get it, but I'm a fan. I have fan in me too. And at some point in time, I go, put Johnny out there.
You're going schizophrenic on me.
I am.
All right, let's
Let's
go to Garrett Dowding. Ravens.com. Hi, what's going on with this flaky AFC North, my friend?
Yeah, it's crazy a little bit. I mean, right now you look at it, and a week ago people were kind of wondering, okay, are the Ravens done? They lost a tough game to the Chargers, and the Bengals looked like they had a stronghold. And then yesterday Pittsburgh goes out, they beat the Bengals. All of a sudden it's kind of a continued logjam that's a lot closer, really narrow between the Bengals. The Steelers and the Ravens all just separated by a half game there, and the Steelers and Bengals still have a game left to play in Week 17. And, of course, the Bengals got a tough stretch. They got to go and they got to play Denver. So they're far from running away with this thing. So it's going to be a wide open race. And I think these last 3 weeks of the season, I could very well see this thing coming down to Week 17.
So is Ozzie calling Darrell Green, Deion Sanders, and Antonio Langham this morning? Because more cornerbacks were hurt yesterday for Baltimore, correct?
Yeah, by the end of the game yesterday, there was just 2 cornerbacks healthy on the 53-man roster who were suited up in the game. The Ravens had 2 go down yesterday. I think that brings a total to 4 or 5 this season that have gone down at different points of the season. So, yeah, I mean, it's. I thought they might give me a call up in the press box and say, hey, Garrett, can you suit up and come down here and step on the field, man? I mean, it is slim pickings out there in the defensive secondary. So, the truth is, though, there's not many people out there. You know, there's not many Darrelle Revises, Richard Sherman sitting out there on the waiver wire. I mean, the good players are picked up, and even, you know, to a lesser extent, there's just not that many, you know, great players. A lot of people asked earlier in the season, what about a Champ Bailey? Well, you know, nobody picked him up this year, and he ultimately decided to retire. So there's not those kind of caliber players that are out there looking for work. So the Ravens just going to have to figure it out, and you know, I don't know what they do at this point. There's not many options.
Who wins the North? Last question.
The Ravens, right? No, I think I really do. I think when you look at the Ravens schedule, they got Jacksonville this week, then Houston, then Cleveland. You compare that to what the other teams have to face. The Steelers have had troubles against the NFC South this year. They face the Falcons this week. The Bengals, I think, got exposed a little bit yesterday. They still got to play Denver. So I think from a schedule standpoint, the Ravens are probably in the best position heading down the stretch.
All right, we'll make sure we read you, Ravens.com. Garrett Downing, thank you for being a friend of the show. Talk to you
All right, thanks, guys.
Take
All
care,
right, let's take care of some housekeeping here. Eric, the referee, what do we got?
All right, we got first our fan of the week,
Fan of the week.
Jeanette Becker, with the caption, Jackson was born to be a Browns fan.
Sorry, Jackson. Hopefully you can get some wins, buddy. Beautiful picture.
That's a great picture.
He wasn't born to be a Hoyer fan, though, I don't think.
Would you stop it? Next.
All right, we got our create caption. I got a couple good ones. There's the first one. That's after the missed field goal.
Yo quiero Taco Bell. I don't know. What do you
got? He's making plans for a vacation right now.
Is that car dealership still hiring?
Yeah, I don't think Billy can do it. He's wide left.
Wow. Next.
Woof, woof, chef. Woof, woof.
You are so all over that.
I know.
I think he's thinking on to Houston.
I wonder if I'm going to lose that Mr. Hero spot.
Yeah, I think he's worried about where will he be next year. I think yesterday was a game.
He'll be somewhere next year.
Oh, he'll be all right.
I mean, yeah.
But this still is his dream come true, and it's out the window.
It's more like his nightmare come true at this point.
Yeah, isn't that? That's something we should talk about down the road. This was his dream come true, and look how it's going to end. You're calling me schizo.
And too many Roman burgers, just like that, too many Roman burgers, and it's out the window.
All right, what else do we got? Stop
That's
with the
nationwide
Roman burgers.
windows.
Yeah, all right, we're good. Next.
Who's in your doghouse?
Look at both of us. Billy Cundiff. I'll go Billy Cundiff.
That's the easy one,
It is the easy one. I went the easy way out. Because you know what? As we had a player tell us last night, Pierre Woods, you got one job, buddy. One job. And that's how NFL players feel. Make your field goals.
Right. I don't know. I think my thought process in the doghouse right now, I want to be excited about the fact they have 7 wins. I think when we all step back, when we all step back at the end of the year, we're going to go, you know what, they were a little bit better than they were, and we're all going to be excited about next year. We are. Even if they go 7-9, you're going to be excited about next year.
We got 2 draft picks in the first round, baby.
And it's already Mock Monday. Go ahead. What?
All right, this is a surprising doghouse. In my doghouse, Johnny Manziel, okay?
Really?
This is your time to be the starting quarterback, okay?
Good job.
Brian Hoyer's lost the job, so it's your chance to take the job. You need to act like it, act like you want to be a starting quarterback. If you want to be loved in this city, then take the reins and play well.
So you're telling him that moving forward, not after yesterday, right?
Yes, moving forward. I'm telling you to get to practice early, be the first one there, last one to leave, and you can be great.
It took 14 weeks, but Eric finally made sense. That was good.
What else you got? We did our caption. We did everything, right? We're done?
Yeah. See you next Monday.
Final
We
thought?
pay the bills. Final thoughts.
Yeah, all bills. Final thought. Go ahead.
Big week this week. Mike Pettin now suddenly, the ball's in your court, and everybody expects something else, whether you like it or not. It's time for him and him and Kyle Shanahan to come together, get a game plan together, and put Manziel out there. You have one more home game. That's the other thing. The team has played so great at First Energy Stadium. The fans have been so great. You don't want the last image being a negative one. So find a way to have a positive end to the season at home, because they've been a different team at home.
I don't know. 3 games to go. I have like that much hope left in a postseason. It'd be interesting to see if they can end this year 10-7. I don't know if they can. 10-6. Sorry, I gave them a loss on the bye week on top of everything else. That's how it's been. It's just been an interesting year. I think the whole season's been interesting. I think we've grown. Unfortunately, I just kind of feel like we're playing for next year right now. Once you give Manziel the ball, you're playing for next year, which is okay because, hey, let's see if he can go get a win under his belt and you can slingshot into next season. I don't think that there is much difference between all the teams in the AFC North that there used to be. That's the one big positive I think I have for the Browns this year. So they're not that far away. We'll figure out what it is. You done?
I'm done.
I'm done. See you later. Thanks for watching Dogs on the Run.
Woof, woof, Chef.
Can I see it?
Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No
Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your
That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. talking about? Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now. Your team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now.
so it feeds the board secondary.
What does routing look like?
The routing goes, okay, and this is where a panic comes in. Because you see, it's only assigned to ops 2, okay? And Shift input over here.
Want to punch up?
No, I'm just looking at the. Oh, 1C out. Oh, okay. So 1A. So the output. Okay, I got it. So the output of the train.
Coming out of this part up.
Yeah, that is kind of a little turn. Very good. Take this. And this doesn't know. The space bar. Didn't want to space.
So is the other Skype box then down to the right?
So, space 2, yeah, just depends to.
And is that up to CRX here?
That'd be S2. If you look over here, go to S2. Your box there.
So it's got the same mix minus.
So you'll see, yeah, aux 1 isn't assigned.
But it seems like we're on aux. Is it aux 2 that's feeding the mixer? Is that where we're assembling it from, the mix minus?
Right. So aux 2.
So this is still pan to the left.
Right. Well, it should be.
S1 is this the other one?
Yeah. And that should be aux 1 should be assigned, not aux 2.
And still, it has to be panned left. I think that's the part that's confusing me. Because it's always going to appear left only.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the pan even matters.
Yeah, it does. Well, I'm pretty sure.
Well, because
right now, like if we called in as if we were a caller, we'd probably be hearing. If we panned it to
oh, yeah, because aux 1, because the auxes are they're stereo input, aren't they?
I believe so. Well, they're stereo outputs, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, let's think about this for a second. What if we panned those and we took the right channel on the opposite and pushed it?
I see now. Yeah, listen. So go ahead and talk again.
Check test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Get back here again. It's coming back.
Okay, so put it dead center so that we can get it in stereo. This is a test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close enough. Now what if you go the channel on? Just ditch that all again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Don't hear you.
And B was probably shouldn't matter. Do we have more than one up right now?
More than what?
More than one source? No, we don't.
Yeah.
So pan that all away. This problem goes away. Yes, it does.
Mm-hmm. So it has to pan left. And when I found it, it was straight up.
And
That's
that
why
was
they were,
the, but why can't we kill it from over here? Oh, instead of killing it here, kill the fader. Are they linked?
It should be the same thing.
Well, one of them is just your solo bus. You might be operating on your solo bus for your headphones.
Right.
Can you bring this one independently down?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Check test.
We'll check that, yeah, because it isn't mute, actually. So,
okay.
I can bring it down. We'll try it again, though.
Yeah, let's try that again. Yep, check test. 1, 2. That's confusing.
Yeah, and I remember having this issue when we first tried setting this up. Because it didn't make sense to me, the fact that you had aux 1 and 2, but then you had an A, B, C, and D.
We're only taking one audio connector out of those outputs, right? Out of the TriCaster.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's on. Say again.
Check test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, that's a clean mix minus right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Want me to pan it in and screw it up?
No, I don't know.
I'm going to pan it in and screw it up.
Oh, because you're a caller. You're a caller.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I got it.
So, right now, we can see that I'm only hitting the left channel with this. So, if I bring this up and put it in the center, it should hit both channels and should cause the problem. There's the problem. But if I kill this, it should stop the problem. But it's not. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why is it doing? But you know why? It's completely turned off.
Beautiful mute.
1, 2, 3. Check this. That's not control. It's taking that beat before the fader.
Yeah.
Let's look at it. So the purpose you for your post or anything. Can we verify actually what's in the main output and the headphone? What's coming out of the headphone output? Because we can try it. Yeah. Because if you did, what's a solo on these? See, these are all solo now, right?
It shouldn't be.
There.
Nothing should be.
What's this? A lot?
Just a lot. Mm-hmm. If you click that, that's the soul of it.
Check this. Check this.
So, go ahead and fill up the channel. There's nothing on it.
Check this.
And still
Check
see
this.
it.
So, the monitor over here has changed. What I'm hearing here has changed. Check this. Oh, I'm so this. So now I'm hearing this. What am I hearing this? Check this. 1, 2.
You're pinned up center still, right?
Yeah, I'm stand up center. But I'm hearing something here. So something is patched into headphone output.
You're hearing something.
So
what you're hearing is the output of the TriCaster. Because this is a live Zoom call, so you're hearing the Mr.
When I go slow, I'm not hearing the echo that I was hearing.
Right. That's because the headsets are monitoring the TriCaster. So when you go so fast,
okay,
right?
All right, so that's what I was hearing getting up here.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take it up so at the moment.
Yeah. That's
so we're listening to that phone.
Mm-hmm. And this is to be the phone call with the guy on the other end of the screen.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. It's just creaky. Why does it appear there, but not here? Check that. Check that. 1, 2. Clearly that does the mix minus, but why can't we do it any other way?
Right.
Is there, B was panned all the way to the right axle.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing on the B.
But there's nothing there. No, it shouldn't matter.
That's ASUV. So if it was coming in through an analog, you'd still have to pan it. Period. So it's the A right channel opt out. All right, let me pan this back. There's so much of the work I should be doing, but for some reason it's more interesting. I want to get in here.
Well, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to pull Nathan on this and speed up on the audio signal flow, because they're doing some weird stuff here that intuitively makes sense.
Follow program video.
That would just use the source thing.
Yeah.
I don't think we want to do that.
But why is this not killing me out there? Where's the out? Where's this? Is this going to get a...
It's going to be...
What is... What's that supposed to do? I don't see how to find anything.
These are the external connections.
Yeah, so it's almost like we're listening to master 1 and 2 instead of remember to put it back instead of off one.
But we're not, because if you kill, like when you solo it,
You have to put this back and let you know what it is. I'm going to kick this for a minute, okay?
Okay.
Provided the output 2 that we're...
Yeah.
Okay. Check test. Did this hang up?
Did it hang up? No. No, we're still there. But
now we're hearing nothing.
Right.
And let's go up here. It's in the middle. But I don't know if we're working at all.
Here,
Your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking
Not hearing.
about.
Dogs on the Run begins now.
Somebody is hearing program.
Check that. I think that. So, program 1 should be going everywhere, right? So the question I have is, was this supposed to be on aux 2 instead? So, output 2, the video makes sense being programmed, but I think it's supposed to be aux 1, 2 is the only way you're going to get mixed minus out of here.
But here's what I think this is, though. Here's what I think this is. I think this is...
To do that, we'd have to prove this by killing this and see if that problem went away on that.
But I think all that output is on that program, if I remember correctly. These should just be your SDI connectors on the back, 1, 2, and 3.
Where did the audios tie to?
Well, this would be the embedded audio. And this would be the source for the embedded audio, either the master or the auxes. So
But I think the audio might follow those.
What do you mean?
Well, you have the outputs, like A1, I forgot how the nomenclature is.
Yeah, 1 through, or A through D.
So 1AB is left, 1A and, left and right.
Right.
2AB. Actually, then I think, so it's, I forgot how you can tell what this mapping is. The audio, we need to know how these audios map to the program outputs. Because I think we're just driving it wrong.
But see, again, these should just be the SDI connectors on the back. I mean, this is just your program output from the TriCaster. I don't necessarily think that has anything to do with mix minus per se.
So we need to have a definition of what the default of all these little guys is.
Right.
1A and B is program?
No,
it's C and D is...
It's whatever you assign each one of these to. They're just buses at that point. Again, if you go into, click a gearbox anywhere. If you go in...
Oh, it's like on that page or something.
Okay. It has to do with where these guys are set. Okay? So, either it's, you should have 1 A through D and 2 A through D. So, if you're running here, oh, I see what you're saying. Is 1, are they masters or auxes at that point? Yeah. Logically, I would have made it that 1A through D would have been your master's A through D. But I don't know if that's how they did it. I don't know if they just came up with some arbitrary naming.
I guess the question is, where do those come out? Because like right now, it's working, right? But,
yeah, I mean we're not hearing anything back.
But are we hearing like regular program? Can I roll something here?
Yeah.
Right
Your
now.
team, your show.
No rules! That's what I'm talking about.
Dogs on the Run begins now.
Check that. Yeah. That, I think what it is you need to make, I think these might be directly associated with like program and aux. Program 1, aux 1. And this might be program 2, you know, like master 1, aux 1.
Right.
Program or master 2, aux 2.
What I don't understand is why do you have the CD, you know? I mean,
DOH audio, what's that?
That goes up to the... No, that's the earphone. Sorry, that's
dial in.
Yeah.
And IFB 104 here. So are these both going to the Comrex? Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay. The different mix minuses for each. Because like right now, I can hear myself over here.
Right.
Can't hear it there. That seems like the way it should be. Whereas if I listen to the other way, I think it changes it. Well, if I turn this up now, we should hear a bad mix minus. Check test. 1, 2, 3. So it's just not sending any audio out, period.
Right.
But now it's audio from here, without a doubt. Because I'll turn these up.
Right.
Or I could just be. Check test. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that it's just listening to that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's very clear.
Just the one.
It's almost like taking
both of that.
Check test. 1, 2, 3. It's like taking right channel program. Check test. Check test. So it's actually taking whatever it's on right now is hooking to master 1's right channel. I hate IFB mix minus. You get so unclear that.
Let me pull the manual. Let me read up on the audio button because I can't.
Yeah, until you can map on it.
I don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you need to break this from doing a full
show. To be a little convoluted.
Yeah.